I think that we should counsel individuals on a basis that like we aren't going to perform surgeries, that they are going to be limited in the scope as to which they can kind of quote unquote transition, but that we will support them wholly as a
So more of like
society. And
a hey, we support you, but we kind of need to work to get your identity back in line with your biology, kind of.
yeah, that'd be perfect. That sounds great.
That's conversion therapy, my friend.
No. Conversion.
Yes. So we've had now several conversations. Every single time we talk, I end up getting very frustrated and insulting you inevitably.
He
Inevitably,
also noted that I
It's
which
indicated
I
it's
mean, why
inevitable,
rush
but
towards
most of the time,
tradition? But
it's just every
um,
conversation we have, you end up like annoying the fuck out of me. So let's just buckle in for this one. What do you want to talk about?
yeah, and previously my our debates had been a lot more personal. Like I was really focused on levying gripes against you as an individual. This is more of like a topic oriented debate.
Okay.
Um, so basically, I touched on this a little bit last time we talked about how I felt that if I thought, or rather, if you thought that your ideas were the best options for individuals, given their circumstances and given the society as a whole. And so I kind of want to move that into the trans debate and
Okay.
see if you think personally that the uh, solutions that you preach and the beliefs that you hold are the best options for trans people given society and their circumstances.
Okay. Yeah, probably.
Now, why you say probably? What does that mean?
um because I don't know
And
for sure. I mean, based on what we know thus far, the evidence we have suggests that yes, what I advocate for is the best course of action for trans people, specifically people with gender dysphoria.
And if possible, I would really, really like it if we could keep as much of like the quote unquote, I have a study that shows, or science proves, or if we could just keep it to like what the layman would understand and just what like
Yeah, but what
us
the
as
layman can
individuals
understand
could
is
work.
very little. That's the problem. Is that's why a lot of people are anti-trans. Is because I'm not shitting on them for being laymen. I understand that it's not easy to do a bunch of research and people have 9 to 5 jobs. And I totally get that. But like the problem is that there's a bunch of laymen that don't know shit about this. So that when they sit down and Fox News tells them that kids are having their genitals mutilated at age like 6, then all of a sudden all these people just believe it. So I agree that like just being like, well, this study says this study says this is pretty boring, but like I can't just not cite what the data says because the data is pretty significant considering that's what supports my ultimate conclusion.
So, but given the fact that like it is a very new science and things are obviously people want to believe it. There's certainly a lot of individuals who have uh, put it all on black or red or fucking they're really gambling on this being the right solution.
They're not gambling
People
on
who
this
have
being the right solution.
well
It's
somewhat
that we have the
one could
evidence. This
say.
is why it's important to bring up the evidence. And I don't know why you would say something like that, but then not want to simultaneously bring up the evidence because the evidence refutes that claim. This isn't a gamble. This is what the evidence suggests is the best course of action thus far. If we come to a different conclusion, if things change, then we would adapt to that and then we would adjust for it. But it's not a gamble. This isn't just like, well, hope it's for the best. We have data. We have
It kind of is
longitudinal
like that though,
studies.
Hunter.
No, it's not.
Well, but the thing is like we're so for example, like we think that right now, or at least society is suggesting that the best course of action for an individual with gender dysphoria is to undergo transitioning.
That's not always the best course of action.
I'm sorry, what would you say then?
Well, for them, they might want to just socially transition. That might be enough.
Yeah, and
For
that's what
others, they
I'm
might just want to
I'm
get hormones and try and develop secondary sex characteristics or get rid of secondary sex characteristics.
yeah, I
It's not
include all that
always
in, like,
genital
transitioning. I'm
reassignment
not saying, like
surgery. In fact, that's like a
right.
minority of trans people.
Yeah, totally. I'm saying I didn't mean, like, get gender reassignment surgery. I just meant that, like, social transitioning, getting onto hormones, anything like that, I would all consider transitioning.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, and we do this because we believe that it will, help these individuals live a more, fulfilling and less troublesome, life. Um,
Not because, well, yes, but we aren't doing this because we just believe it will. We're doing this because this is what the evidence suggests contributes to them living a better life.
what's the difference between what I said and what you just said?
You said they believe that this is going to help them, which makes it sound as if we don't have good reason for thinking this. That it's not, we just believe this. We think this is going to happen based on the evidence. But I might be getting too
Yeah, we
technical there. Sorry. You can go
we
ahead.
believe that this is gonna happen based on the evidence, right? But yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I'm just
fine.
saying that, like, what I mean by what I said is just that we're not doing this maliciously. We're trying to do what is best for the individuals. If something else seemed to be better, I think we would be open to it, right? If there was some sort of if we came out tomorrow with a pill that just solved gender dysphoria and the individual was suddenly comfortable in the body they were born in and they were perfectly fine, like with not doing anything at all, except
Okay.
for taking this one pill one time. If we came out with that, certainly everybody would switch to it.
But
Um,
this would be for any ailment at all. Why would anybody ever go to therapy if we had a magic pill that you could take one time and it would magically fix all of depression? Like, yeah, so just if there are is a hypothetical like magic fix doesn't mean that what we have available thus far isn't the best option. I agree that
here's the issue,
yes,
though.
if somebody were to say like, "Hey, we've been doing this research and it looks like this is showing some promise. This might be a better method or better way forward for trans people and helping them." Sure, that I'm completely open to hearing that. Yes. But right now, again, this seems to be the best course of action.
My biggest fear is that in the future we do find some sort of other solution, or we find out that this wasn't the actual solution,
But like,
and it
how would
trans
you go
people
back?
who
No, 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 no. It's not like we're gonna find out this. The thing is, so what do you think about like conversion therapy?
I try not to.
Are you, I mean, are you like generally opposed to it? Like, because the thing,
yeah, I guess so.
okay, because a lot of people with the pill, like when you're talking about the pill, it sounds more like you're talking about if there's a way to like cure the gender dysphoria or or force them to
No,
stop
no, no,
being
no, no.
trans in a way.
No, what I'm saying is that, like, if in the future we come out with something that trans individuals decide is better for them, like,
Hmm.
overall, I'm not trying to say that I know
Okay, no, 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 I get you, I get
what
you.
they
I
what's
think we're
best
on
for.
the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
page then. Yeah. So if a better treatment comes out that's humane and
yeah.
seems
In
to be
that
better, then
future, I worry that we'll look back on trans people who did undergo assignment surgery or who did take hormones or who have these permanent modifications to their body or changes to their body, that we'll look back on them and see them as kind of as mistakes, if you will, as if, like,
well, this is why I'm going to bring up studies, right? Because you can look at the numbers and read the regret rates. They're very low.
no, not regret. I'm not saying that, like, they'll regret it. I'm saying that, like, as a society, we'll regret it. We'll regret having gone through with this, having
Why would we
um
regret this if the person is living a better, healthier, happier life, is less likely to commit suicide? Why would we regret it? Even if a better treatment comes out, why would we regret it?
so you sparked on kind of the core of my argument there. Um if the person is living a happier, more fulfilled life, then I guess we wouldn't regret it. Um the issue though is that if the person isn't living a happier, more fulfilled life, and we've suddenly cured this issue with some, or we're going about it in some other way, then what we're left with is a incredibly vulnerable section of the populace that have been otherized in a way. And I worry that we will not decrease the overall suicide rate or the amount of unhappiness, but will rather exponentially increase it.
Well,
Um,
this is a twofold issue because you have the medical issue of gender dysphoria, and then you also have the social issue, right? So like I even see people in my chat, one guy who I've already argued with, who's very stupid, saying 50% of trans people have considered suicide or something, which is like, yes, we already know that trans
that's
people
the
have higher.
41% meme, yeah.
We already know that trans people have higher suicide rates because of not only medical issues or comorbidities, but also because of societal issues as well. So it's twofold. So when you say like, well, what if we regret it? Or what if there's a better treatment that comes along? All of this is like, I guess, a fair concern to have. But I would then need to ask, okay, fine, maybe a better thing hypothetically will come out later on. What do we do now?
And that is the question, Hunter. And that's what troubles me. So I stay up late into the night, biting my nails and unable to sleep because I have anxiety about what do we do now?
Do you
What
really
is the
have
best course
anxiety
of
about
action? How
this?
do
Why would
I?
you be having anxiety about this when there's like,
I'm kind of exaggerating. But I'm saying
okay,
that
sure,
like,
but don't you know that there is evidence to support why we are doing what we're doing right now for trans people, right?
yeah, I've heard it before, believe it or not. But I'm afraid that that evidence was ill-gotten gains, that we saw what we wanted to,
Right.
which people are so often to do,
Why would we do
and that
that? Why would we
huh?
what So do you think that I just
Why would we
genuinely
do that?
no, I genuinely want to know if you believe that the last 50 years of research on trans people has been all biased and is fake or wrong or
Well,
incorrect.
I'm not saying that or that like
Okay, not
all of
fake,
it. Like,
but do you think that like it's just all wrong, that somehow you know better? We've been
no,
studying
I
this
don't
issue.
think that I know
This
better.
even this idea that like, oh, it's brand new research and whatnot isn't even entirely true. People cite the Swedish study, for example, all the time, which was conducted in the 1970s, and even that one said that gender transition helps alleviate gender dysphoria. It's just not enough so to completely alleviate it, which is true because there's not really a one fix all cure type thing. Um, so this has been studied for quite a long time. This issue's been studied for quite a long time. I, when we have a bunch of data suggesting one thing that's been corroborated by more data and more research moving into the future, I don't understand how this is giving you so much anxiety. It seems as though this is the
Well, and I
evidence.
mean, at the end of the day, that's the magic word, right? Data, studies. We say these things as like to take the place of actually having to have any sort of valuable or useful like uh information to give ourselves.
No,
We're
the data and the
often
studies are the valuable information. And I'm not just saying data and studies as a buzzword. I'm explaining to you that the studies are relevant
sort of
because,
you're doing
no,
that.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm explaining to you that the studies are relevant because that's where you're able to look at large groups of trans people and see how they turn out.
Well, here's the problem though. And like I understand that your heart's in the right place. I'm not trying to like say that you're stupid. I'm not trying to say that I'm smart. I'm not trying to pretend to know better. Nothing like that. What I'm saying is that like it's it is very useful to be able to
Mhm.
say that some like other entity with authority and smart people the green light to use this argument.
I understand really quick. I feel like people in chat are starting to quickly understand why our conversations consistently devolve. It's because I keep saying things to you, and then you sort of don't listen to them, and then you go on to the next stupid thing you've already been saying.
Well, but here's
I'm
the
not
problem.
saying no.
This is why
Be
I wanted
quiet.
to
Shut
stay
the
away
fuck up.
from.
No. Shut up. The reason is that you are presenting this as if I am just listening to these authoritative institutions going, well, the American Psychological Association said it's fine, so therefore it's good. No, I'm reading the data, which happens to be also conducted by authoritative institutions. Plus, there's alternative data done by private institutions you can look at, like universities, for example. This is not just one authority saying it's the case and I'm just believing it. I'm able to look and analyze the data. This is why it's not just a buzzword. These are the facts.
Okay, so you say look and analyze the data, right? So
Yes.
and this is kind of why I wanted to stay away from this, but I know that it's difficult, given the subject matter, to stay away from like
Because you're
using
making
studies and
empirical claims. They require studies.
right, right. So I
Or data. Sorry, go ahead.
I do not know the methodology or the ideology behind the studies that you're suggesting.
Okay,
I don't
which
know
one
the
would you like to look at? Maybe we can take a look and I can hear from your sociological expertise on what could be done
sure.
better here.
Shoot one at me, whichever one you want.
Um I mean, I'll send you this one, the infamous one that most people use and start with. Of course, is this one here,
I'll take a peek.
which is a systematic literature review of all peer-reviewed articles published in English between 1991 and June 2017 that assess the effect of gender transition. So the individual studies here, some of them are very low sample size or poor quality. This is why systemic reviews are valuable, because the study by itself, if it's low quality or whatnot, obviously is not very valuable. But taking into account the low quality and then coupling it with better quality studies, and again, doing this systematic literature review, you are able to weigh all the evidence, and you're also able to weigh it based upon what's good quality, what's low quality, and when combining it all, you can come to a more robust conclusion.
And what conclusion is that?
This search found a robust international consensus in the peer-reviewed literature that gender transition, including medical treatments such as hormone therapy and surgeries, improves the overall well-being of transgender individuals. The literature also indicates that greater availability of medical and social support for gender transition contributes to better quality of life for those who identify as transgender.
Wow, that
Now,
sounds
that
nice.
one is just a summary, so admittedly, that's not as in-depth as I would have liked it to go. So I'm looking through my studies here, and I'll be able to send you another one.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, like hold on one second.
Okay. Okay, the aim of this study was to re-examine individuals with gender identity disorder after as long a period of time as possible. To meet the inclusion criteria, the legal recognition of participants' gender change via legal name change had to date back at least 10 years. The sample comprised 71 participants. There was qualitative and quantitative methods. Clinical interviews were conducted with the participants, and they completed a follow-up questionnaire. Positive and desired changes were determined by all the instruments. Very few participants were unemployed. Participants reported high degrees of well-being and good social integration. Most of them had a steady relationship, and they were also satisfied with their relationship with family and friends. Regarding the results of standardized questionnaires, participants showed significantly fewer psychological problems and interpersonal difficulties, as well as a strongly increased life satisfaction at follow-up than at the time of the initial consultation. Despite these positive results, the treatment of transsexualism is far from being perfect. Okay. When was this done? What's the date here? 2015?
Yeah, not bad. And like it sounds great. Don't get me wrong.
Oh
Like
wait,
I
so
love it.
I'm sorry, I didn't even know you were back. Did you hear me read that whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I sent you the link. People are asking for the link here. Everybody, chat. I'm sending the link right now. Go ahead, please. Extreme Dad. Go ahead. What were you saying?
So here's the thing: is like at the end of the day, and this I'll certainly check these things out a lot more in my own time and maybe pick them apart a little bit more. But here's the thing: it's just like we're operating under the assumption that these individuals are not driven by a desire to um, see what they want to see. We're assuming that these people are totally objective
No, we're
and
not.
completely.
It's not whether or not somebody is feeling well. Their own well-being is subjective, not objective. So we can only measure that. We can get a quantitative measure by conducting qualitative research.
No, what I'm saying is like the scientists who conduct trans studies, we're assuming are unbiased and like uninfluenced by their own personal desire to find uh, a certain result. Like I
So then
always
I'm
say
going to
that
go back
we
to the first question. I know I'm cutting you off a lot. It's just I feel like you're being kind of long-winded and not making a lot of arguments here. It sounds as if you are making the claim that, well, maybe this study was biased because people were looking for the results that they wanted. Then I'm going to go back to the first question, which is, do you think all the research is wrong? And do you think all the research was biased? Or do you think that it can be relied upon because of the length by which it has been being accounted for?
um I think that we I think that they believed these things at the time. I think that science right now as it stands, I think that the things that we say and do
Mm-hmm.
are motivated by good like reasoning and a desire to, do good and not do harm. I think acting a little bit biased in their favor of wanting to find um trans people to be quote unquote valid.
This isn't
I
even
think it's
true.
the
Haven't you heard
person
about all
who
the controversy with England
know
recently?
what happened there.
I think it was the National Institute of Health is America. What is the UK national health thing? Basically, they came out and said that they don't know about the gender dysphoria treatment anymore. Now, it's my understanding that it's still based upon some bad research. Oh, the NHS. Okay. It's my understanding that this is still based upon some pretty faulty research, like the fucking social contagion gender dysphoria thing. But regardless, this is still a large authoritative institution that has now actually caused controversy because they have reduced their endorsement of this treatment. So even your original notion is incorrect. Like info
Um,
is changing, but this idea that, well, we're all just biased trying to find the same result. No, we're not, because people aren't just finding the same result.
well, I'm just afraid that, like you said, info is changing, and that we have individuals who we are telling and promising that we're going to help them. We have people who are very vulnerable at a particularly vulnerable point in their life
Yeah. So what
who
do
have
you
had.
think should happen?
I think that we should counsel individuals on a basis that like we aren't going to perform surgeries, that they are going to be limited in the scope as to which they can kind of quote unquote transition, but that we will support them wholly as a
So more of like
society and
a hey, we support you, but we kind of need to work to get your identity back in line with your biology, kind of.
yeah, that'd be perfect. That sounds great.
That's conversion therapy, my friend.
No. Conversion
Yeah,
therapy
yeah,
is
yeah,
like
yes.
religious in nature and
No, 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 no. No, it's not. Conversion therapy is any type of treatment that attempts to force somebody to deny part of their identity. So, so
so
yes,
basically what you
that's
want to do.
conversion therapy.
But isn't what you want to do denying part of their identity?
No, I want to validate people's identity
Well, not their biological identity.
because because there's no that's because it's not a biological identity. Yeah, it's a social identity.
Right. So what I'm saying is like we could instead validate their biological identity and tell them like, hey,
What biological
let's
identity?
try to
What does that even mean?
the sex they were assigned at birth, the body they
Okay,
were
and
born
the
into at birth.
sex that they were assigned at birth carries with it a set of expectations, right? And roles.
Right.
That's
And
the
what I'm saying
identity,
is that
right?
well, what I'm saying is that like instead of like hormones and surgeries, we can say that like, hey, if you can't fulfill your particular gender role, if you're not feeling like comfortable in your body because like you're worried about that people are gonna make fun of you or that you're not masculine enough, that you don't have to worry about that because we're gonna support you. We're here for you, and it's okay. Like we're going to make do with what you got, but we are going to make it work regardless.
But there's no sex
And
identity. You keep saying, why not get them to identify with their sex? What I'm telling you is the sex identity you're referring to is actually called gender, because the identity that we have is the social expectation, roles, collection of behaviors that we have socially constructed and correlated with biology.
okay, but
So then
like
there's wait. That's an important thing for you to understand. So there's no
okay,
such thing as a sex identity in the sense that me having a penis has not caused me to want to wear my hair short, wear jeans, wear suits, partake in more masculine sort of behaviors. A lot of this is social. Do you understand that?
okay,
Okay,
but
so
what's your point?
my point is that's gender. There's a difference between gender and sex. So if you're able to recognize that somebody can have a gender identity that is different than their sex identity, you're not that far
He
away
also
from
noted that I
recognizing how
am an
trans
ape and I
people
should
can
go F
have
myself.
a different gender identity as well.
But do we want that?
Want what exactly, if you wouldn't mind clarifying? You
People that
good?
have an identity that doesn't correlate with their sexual or with their sex.
It doesn't matter if we want that or not. People do have that already. So we need to do something about it. And your solution of conversion therapy or just do nothing is not acceptable. We've tried both of those things, and both of those resulted in suicide and depression and decrease of overall well being of trans people.
Hmm. Well,
Uh huh.
I I do think there is a trans genocide. I
Are you
do.
okay right now? You good? You're like taking a long
Yeah,
time
we
to
can talk
respond.
about
You're like
something.
muting out. Do you need to take a second?
I was just choking. It's fine. Um, my point is that there is a trans genocide. I believe that. Um, but it's not coming from the right. It's coming from the left.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that I really do fear that we're setting these people up for failure, and that we're prescribing things to them that we don't fully understand yet
How is
ourselves.
this a trans genocide?
Because I think there's going to be a future where people are going to come to realize that they've made permanent and irreversible changes to their body
Like
that don't.
sterilization? Are we doing the Tim Pool meme here?
Well, I'm just saying like that they're going to come to that those changes that they made to their body aren't going to continue to line up with society's view of like what
That's not a
is valid and
genocide.
what is
None
acceptable.
of this is trans genocide.
But when those people have to live in a world where they're no longer accepted for their you know identity, but are instead isolated and alienated and you know
Because that's a problem with society, not trans people.
right. But I think that we're going to see an exponential increase in just that suicide rate, that
I know
unhappiness,
what
and I
you
think that
think,
that's the
but
real
the
genocide.
things you think are irrelevant because thus far everything you think is wrong and based on nothing but feelings.
Yeah,
So
well,
I don't care. We have a low regret rate right now for trans people. The evidence that we have thus far strongly suggests that social transition and then maybe medical transition later on is the best course of action for reducing depression, suicidality, and boosting overall self well being. So
right now, thus far,
no, but this,
suggests.
you're doing a trans genocide thing. First of all, genocide is an intentional attempt at wiping out a group of people, usually done by the government or other institutions in power. You, my
Yeah,
friend,
I'm using
are, wait,
genocide as
stop.
like a.
Shh.
I'm not
You,
saying
my
like
friend,
I'm
be
not
quiet.
literally.
Shut up right now. You, my friend, are the one advocating for conversion therapy and the denial of treatment that has been proven to be life-saving in certain cases. So I'm not accusing the right of engaging in a
Wait, how is that?
transgender.
How is it being
I'm not
life-saving?
accusing the right of engaging in a transgenocide. But if I were, you would be leading that genocide, my friend.
How has it been life-saving?
I already explained this to you.
Well, like, but I'm saying, are you saying because they didn't kill themselves? Like, that doesn't count. That's not life-saving.
Crazy for Coke, please join into the Discord. No, it's that they would have committed suicide had they not had access to this treatment.
Yeah, that's not life-saving. That's ridiculous. Like, we don't.
They
You
were
can't
going
hold us
to
hostage.
die. They get treatment that helps them
They
not kill
weren't going to
themselves.
die.
It is
Like,
life-saving.
I can't go into a doctor's office with a gun to my head and say, "Give me, a script for OxyContin, or I'm going to blow my brains out." And if he does it, he's not life-saving.
Because
He's
this is
not.
a medication. Telling somebody to do something else for you is different. This is a medical
What I'm saying is, you
engagement.
can't get
This is like
medication at the
saying
end of a gun.
antidepressants have been life-saving because there's
You
people that
can't
kill them.
get your
Hold on,
medication.
because there's themselves because of depression, and now we see
Yeah, but
less
you
people
can't get your
killing themselves
medication
because of
through
depression.
taking hostages. You
What?
can't take hostages. You can't hold yourself at gunpoint. You can't do things because if you don't, you're going to kill yourself. You can't. That's wrong, and that's a bad line of reasoning.
I'm not saying that. What are you talking about? I'm saying that this is a medical thing. This is different than coercing somebody into doing something else.
What I'm saying is that, like, by saying
And
it's a
also, can I
life-saving
explain something
procedure,
else? No, because your example of I have a gun to my head, give me $100, and then when they give you $100 and you don't kill yourself, you say that was life-saving. That $100 is an externality of you holding the gun to your head. You're coercing someone else to do something for you. In this case, the life-saving outcome is intrinsic to the treatment. So it's actually the treatment itself that contributes to the reduction of suicidality, thus equaling to be life-saving in some cases.
interesting. Are you going to debate Lavloon?
I might. I want to. I asked her to
She's
debate.
she's gonna flay you living, right?
Oh, okay. Just like you flayed me living?
No, she's much better than I am. Much better. She'd blow me out the water. Have you seen her debates with like tomfoolery and stuff?
Nope. What's you think her best argument?
I don't know. I mean, she's just really, really good at arguing about gender and society and stuff like that. And I've honestly been thoroughly impressed. People make fun of me for that, but we used to be mortal enemies. I mean, she had to win me over, and she certainly did so.
Isn't she more of a turf?
She is a turf. She's not more of. She's like the turf. It's like J.K. Rowling, Lav, some bitch on Twitter. Like,
Well, I messaged her and asked her to, and I told her to join. I messaged her and told her to join, so maybe we can talk a little bit. But yeah, you'll have to explain to me what you think the good argument was that she made, or I guess is this how you want to end the conversation? What else do you want to talk about? I don't know where to.
Yeah,
go
we
from there.
can wrap it up here, but like I do think you should debate Lav on it. I just think that there's a lot that you're hand waving and just kind of saying like, oh, this is all okay because I got the green light from some study
This
that I
is why I'm
read.
wondering if you're hearing me or not. And this is why every time our conversations end with rage. Because I get a little bit frustrated when I'm talking to people that are really fucking stupid. But then I get even more angry when I feel like you're being stupid. I explain and clarify. And then you go back to being stupid again. As if you have not heard me. I never
Right.
said
Well,
there's
oftentimes
just a
like I just
green
don't
light
agree
from
with
a
like what you're
study.
saying, or I don't believe it. Like I a lot of times like because like sometimes you be saying things, but that's not what you actually mean, and a lot of times like anyway.
What are you talking about?
My point being is that I'll let you go here. I don't want this to end in rage. I appreciate you letting me come
I
on.
know. I feel sorry for you mostly when we talk because unfortunately, whenever we have these conversations, I'm made aware of just the horrible and detrimental outcomes of inbreeding, and I
Yeah, right.
just think that you should try and rethink some of your ideas, or actually, I should really rephrase that. not rethink, just start thinking about them, and then come back and we can talk again about this more.
All right, I'll do that.
Every conversation I have with that guy is like insufferable.